You're in tune to the Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean.
Victorious 89.1 WAKP. Your unity in the community station.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on the Powerhouse radio station are those of the host, guests, and callers, are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other hosts or advertisers. The show, found on the Powerhouse radio station, can promote any lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to treat, diagnose, and or claim any cure of disease or conditions. Opinions stated by various contributors to the Powerhouse Radio and its programming are not to be considered as endorsed by the Powerhouse Radio station. Visitors are urged to use their own discernment to draw their own conclusion. We emphasize the importance of keeping an open mind.
One by One Kia full range of products embodies fundamental nutrients necessary to maintain beautiful and healthy hair care without having to combine an assortment of hair care products. The One by One Kia products are designed to rejuvenate, moisturize, create shine, fortify, and stimulate hair growth while leaving your hair feeling weightless and luxurious. Be sure to visit our website at www.onebywankaya.com and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at One by One Kia. Let's get your healthy hair care journey started today.
Yeah. You listening to the sounds of DJ Fourth Quarter in your ear right now. If you're in your car, if you're at home, if you're on your phone, let's gripe, baby.
Driving home and you're feeling kinda tired. Hey, radio play the same thing every day, so you need a little switch in your life. Traffic got you jammed up every night. Tune in to Powerhouse. Wednesday 7 to 9, you need to check them out. I promise I ain't trying to hype, but one good listen tonight, it might change your life. So what's the name of the show? When you need something to just ride to on the go, or you might be home, so log on. You can even dial in on your phone. I promise that you're gonna love it. Just try it one time, it'll blow your mind. Now I'ma say it just one more time. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9.
Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. It's October the 5th. How you guys doing? Marcus, how you doing?
What up? Man, I'm doing well. I can't complain. It's starting to get a little chilly outside. I like it.
Just a little. Hey, Ashley Boo. Hey, you guys go ahead to YouTube and check out AK for Life, you guys. You will love them. There is a family of fun and joy. Mckenna, I know that she was having a little technical difficulty. So are you working it out, McKenna?
Good evening, everybody. Yes, all of a sudden, my gripe now is that my internet decided to keep buffering for no reason. It was working fine all day, but we know how it is. But we're going to press through, and we are just delighted to be here this evening, and I hope everyone has had a great week thus far.
Hey, well, guess what? So we haven't did any, well, McKenna, you kind of, and Marcus did have a little gripe. You know, I haven't had a gripe for a minute. Y'all, I got a gripe for y'all tonight. Where do I start? But let me start off by saying we hope that the thoughts and prayers goes out to, the families in Florida who have been impacted by the hurricane this past weekend, and even North Carolina. So again, Puerto Rico experienced it a few weeks ago. So again, we just hope that these counties and state can, rebuild. So again, we definitely want to send out our thoughts and prayers to the families who were affected by the hurricane.
Yeah, I concur. I've just been seeing some some pretty wild stuff. We've seen footage of kind of like people living on the shore or lakes or wherever they were at, and the water has receded all the way far to where some of them can't even see it anymore, can't even see any water, which I think is I don't know, it seems kind of scary in a sense that biblically we talking about, like, everybody always talk about like end of times and things like this happening, just stuff just different. But yes, definitely, our prayers go out to the families, and we talk about the people that decide to stay in situations like this, and kind of what goes through their mind, um, and the footage that we've seen of people that have been upstairs and then they walk downstairs and they see stuff floating in their living room and stuff like that. I can't even imagine. I don't even know what I would do. I don't know if you can even save a house after that at that point. You know what I mean? So I don't even know.
But Marcus, I'm going to evacuate, even if I feel that it might not be that bad. I'm out.
See, I'm with you though. I'm right behind you.
I'm not.
We
I'm
gone.
not riding no storm out like that. Not if I'm by some water. Not in the flood zone. I'm not. I ain't riding none now.
I mean, it was pretty interesting to see, not just, I mean, we've seen hurricanes and damage before, but people were posting pictures of like fish floating around in their living rooms and dolphins and shark. I think there was a picture of a shark that was way too close in town. And then just all of the aftermath that has to occur, like the wildlife have to readjust to where they're supposed to be because they're used to being where they've been, and now they're displaced. And like you were talking about, the water has receded, and where the beach used to be, that's not really the beach right now because the water is a little bit far back. So these are movies that we've seen, and I think we mentioned this last week. We've watched these movies on TV, like The Day After Tomorrow and Geostorm, and just the various movies that talk about disaster, and to see it and to realize that on any given Sunday it could be us, because we never know if it's going to be a tornado that passes through. We've seen tornadoes over the years just devastate and flatten entire communities. And then we don't really hear the follow-up afterwards. Like, we hear about it, they talk about it in the news for 2 or 3 weeks, but what's it like 6 months later? What's it like 12 months later? Are the people able to get the FEMA money or the insurance money to actually rebuild? Does the community thrive again? Are you able to, go back to your employment, or is your job gone because of the storm? So there are a lot of things that happen later that we don't necessarily feel the impact of. We're just the spectators of, oh my gosh, that car is floating down the street, or, oh my goodness, you can stand on top of your car and fish because the water's so high. But we really don't think about what happens, 3, 6, 9, and 12 months later. So we have to just be mindful to just keep everybody, in our thoughts and prayers, because something is always happening somewhere. And if it's not now, it's around the curve, and it could be our turn. So we want to put that energy back out there, because when it's our turn to receive it, we definitely want it back.
Mckenna, what part of Florida are you from, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm from Kissimmee.
Kissimmee? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, one of my relatives, the water was in the house. And I spoke to the husband. My cousin is married, so I spoke to her husband because he's the one that answered the phone. And he was explaining how they literally packed up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and left and went to the mother-in-law's house. And I said, well, how did you decide that it was time to go? Like, what made you were you sleeping and you woke up? And he was like, no, we were pretty much kind of up. We could hear the wind and the rain. And then we started looking out the window, and we could see that the water kept rising in the backyard. And once it started getting up to the kitchen window, we were like, yeah, we might want to go ahead. And I'm like, Tony, I might have left before that part, but that was the part for them when they decided to go ahead and pack up and move. I know Tonia would have been gone before it got to the window. Like, when she saw it, get like 1 inch and the whole backyard flood, you probably would have been packing up then. But for whatever reason, they stayed around until it got like up to the window, and they were like, yeah, it's about time to leave.
So Marcus, once I couldn't see the grass, I'm out.
Right. Right.
Once I couldn't see the grass, I'm gone.
And see, I don't know. I guess Florida people are different, and even people that deal with like stuff like this more often than I have in Georgia. It's probably definitely different from them. Like, you know, maybe once every 2 or 3 years they get water up to the porch or something like that. You know what I mean? Like maybe something like that. For us, if like I said, if we can't see the grass in the backyard, or even if they say we're not gonna see the grass in the backyard, we probably be gone. You know what I mean? But I guess that's what I was asking. That's why I wanted to kind of ask McKenna how, like in the past, like when they say like this big hurricane coming into Florida, how do people normally kind of react to those things? Is there like a limit? Like when Tony was like, look, once it gets up to the kitchen window, we got to go. But if it's just the backyard or to the porch or something like that, we probably be fine.
So it really does depend on a couple of things. Number one, how long you've been in Florida, because you have Floridians that have been there 5 to 10 years. And then you have people who are indigenously from there. They've been there 2 generations or more. And then it also depends on where you live. Like people on the coastal sides are more likely to go inland because you can see that that hurricane is going to have a direct impact on the coast. So anybody who's on the coast, those are people that tend to move, whether it's on the west coast of Florida, if the hurricane is coming from west to east, if you're on the east coast of Florida and that storm is coming east to west, or if you're at the bottom of Florida, like the Florida Keys, Miami, if sometimes the storm hits there. People in central Florida, we're the ones that usually stay because usually by the time it comes, it has lessened in its category. So it may start out as a category 4, and then by the time it gets to central Florida and moves up, it's a category 2. And we usually just get the precipitation and the gusting winds. We don't necessarily get that flooding that people on the coast or at the bottom of Florida, we call it the bottom, typically get. So if you're in central Florida, Orlando, Kissimmee, anywhere in central Florida, you were looking at it like, yeah, I'm going to get my bottled water, I'm going to get my flashlight and my batteries, I'm going to have some food, I'm going to get my sandbags, and I'm good.
So
However, nature does what nature does. And even though it's been 15, 20 years since it's been our turn, so to speak, it just happened to be our turn. And it wasn't in every part of the city. Even in Orlando and Daytona, it wasn't everywhere. It was in certain places. So for example, like my cousin, the house sits behind a ditch. And the ditch is a major drainage for all of rainwater and stormwater to drain off on. So what happened was that ditch couldn't handle the amount of runoff, we call it runoff water. So literally the ditch flooded, and that's why the backyard flooded. And that's why at 3 o'clock they were looking at the water coming to the kitchen window like, yeah, it's time to go. So it was, for them, it was the location because the ditch is there. And the ditch normally, like you can walk across the ditch because the water is usually 2 feet, 3 feet. You know, if it rains, maybe I've seen it, maybe 4 feet of water at the most. And that ditch is probably, I'm guessing like 2 or 3 people. So maybe 20 feet, 25 feet deep. I'm guessing that's probably about a 25-foot deep ditch. So you could walk down it and walk across to the other side.
And that was at its capacity?
It was at its capacity. And it overfilled. And so on one side of the ditch, there are apartments. On the other side of the ditch, there's a residential community. So the apartment complex that's behind it, they're kind of like duplex, like the old duplexes. And there's probably, I don't know, 25 units. Those people they showed a picture where they had a city truck with the bucket that scoops up, maybe like a construction truck that scoops up gravel, and people were sitting inside that piece because the construction truck with the big tires that are probably 20 feet had to drive into the neighborhood to pick up those people, and somebody posted a picture. So it was treacherous.
And this is in Central Florida.
Yeah, like we never get this. Central Florida, we on there watching TV, like, oh, it's real bad down there in Miami. So because y'all all right, you know, we around here with
but they said it was gonna mix. They said it was gonna miss Miami and Fort Lauderdale, and it said it was going up to that Orlando, Daytona area.
And
They
it got
did say
like
that.
that.
And they was on the money this time. Because, a lot of times they have a prediction of this and that, and it usually not that bad, but they was on the money this time. But I think with me personally, I would have still packed my bags and went somewhere.
But it's
Just
the same
because.
thing like with the tornadoes. Like we get tornado watches here in Georgia. And every summer there's a tornado watch. And it's one of those things that you hear, but you're like, oh, okay, it's a tornado watch. You're still going to Walmart. Like there's a tornado watch until you've actually been in a tornado or the tornado's been super close. If you've seen a tornado, like if you've ever been driving and seen that tornado within your peripheral vision, then you are like, okay, maybe I should pay more attention to these tornado watches. But I mean, as long as I've been in Florida, I can personally say that I'm guilty of hearing about the tornado watch. Okay, there's a tornado watch from 5:55 to 7:15, and ignoring it completely. I had a house guest one year. It was my cousin, one of my cousins, and she came to visit. And I came home from work, and I'm looking for her. She's in the bathroom. I'm like, what? Where are you? She's like, I'm in the bathroom. There's a tornado coming. And I wanted to laugh, but then I thought about it. I said, I can't make fun of that because she's really doing what you're supposed to do. Go to the most interior part of your house and wait it out for 8 more minutes. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll be upstairs and I'll come back down in 8 minutes. Like,
I think we all been guilty of those things,
Yeah,
but
I
we're
definitely
glad
have to.
that your family, your family as well. So materialistic things can always be replaced. Insurance, So again, those things can be replaced. It's just the life that we can't replace. So again, and definitely sending out condolences to, family who has lost family members and friends in the hurricane. And definitely, again, we want to send out condolences to anyone that has lost, had a loss in their family. And again, my condolences to the Stewart family. So, everyone just take care of yourself and just, love on your friends and your family. That's all I always say when I have to send out condolences. So, girl, y'all, Marcus and McKenna, y'all have anything else before y'all hear my gripe?
Oh yeah.
All right,
All right.
they
Real
ready.
fast.
They
Real
ready.
fast. Okay, real fast. People showing up late.
Showing up late for work.
Yes, every day.
They don't like their job no more. They don't like their job no more.
So unfortunately, I posted a question on social media like, at what point is it cool, or what point should you snitch on a coworker about being late? So unfortunately, I'm at that point to say, look, she be late every day. I don't care if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's been an hour and some change late. So unfortunately, I have one of those jobs where I can't leave until they get there. So for me, it's like, look, so I'm gonna have to give. Because if I say something to you, and it may be a coworker, we may be going back and forth on some stuff that's not necessary. You know what I mean? Because the time is the time. So if I just go ahead and holler at my manager, like, hey, look, I can't do it no more, such and such, show up, whatnot. I need to leave. I got things to do. I can just holler at them like that. I haven't yet, but I'm about at that point. I don't want to be the person to be like, the snitch. But look, if you every day, if you have the same excuse about some type of traffic, then you need to leave your house early. It's simple. You can't be late every day now, and then be like apologize every day. Don't mean nothing. So that's my gripe.
So MG, I will say that there's lots of different ways to handle it, but I would be interested in that person tomorrow or whenever your next workday is getting there late and they apologize and you don't accept their apology. Like you simply say your apology is not accepted because it's a pattern. And so an apology is something that happens once, that's occasional, but you have a pattern, a chronic pattern of being late every day. And I do not accept your apology. And what I expect you to do is show up on time like everybody else and see what happens.
McKenna, did you see that Madonna said snitches get stitches?
Right. That's why we're going straight to the person. We're doing direct communication to the person, and we're saying your apology, because we don't do this. When people apologize, we just say okay, but we actually, if you think about it, we do have the right not to accept somebody's apology. It's just not something that we do on a regular basis. So it would be interesting to see or hear the feedback from if that person apologizes tomorrow, and you let them know, I'm not accepting your apology, and I'm disappointed that every day you come to work late and you disregard the fact about how it impacts me and my family. I would love to leave on time, but I can't leave on time because you're late every day. I appreciate you coming to work tomorrow on time. I look forward to you coming to work on time tomorrow. I'm excited because I know you're going to do better. But I don't accept your apology until your behavior changes. I just want to see what that
If
was.
somebody told you that, how would you respond, McKenna?
I probably would laugh. Because everything
I
is
love
going
her.
to be.
I love her honesty.
The first thing I would do was probably laugh. And then because I'm a reflective person, I probably would think about what they're saying and try real hard not to be sarcastic. Um, and I will say, I'll see you tomorrow at, okay, let's say it's 6:59 if I'm supposed to be there at 7. It'll just be something like, tomorrow 6:59, I'll see you. You want some Dunkin' Donuts while I'm coming on the way?
See, and that's the type of stuff that be like,
No, Marcus, be real. Do the Aries way. What the Aries way?
Yeah, do the Aries way.
Do the
See, but
Aries way.
it's. I just tell you, it's a female. So I don't want to get into that.
We already know it's a female. We already knew. That was
We was
'cause
not.
if it had
Yeah,
not been
we
a
didn't.
female,
We didn't
you would have
wonder
gone
what
to
it
him
was.
already. We knew she was a female. Now. Come on, MG. We did not. MG. I only met you one time in person. No, I'm just teasing. We knew she was a female. That's why you tiptoeing.
Tiptoe.
Because some folks in the workplace, man, they those relationships, between male and female and conflict sometimes don't work out very well in the workplace. So I try to tiptoe it as much as possible.
But tiptoeing doesn't work.
Yeah.
It does. It doesn't. It's not effective.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we have to be blunt and direct. Dang, you late again? Blame Christ. And then leave. I'm so glad you finally got here so I can go home.
Well, on the other hand,
how late are you going to be tomorrow? 5 minutes or 10 minutes so I can plan my day.
All right, so here's the Aries woman side.
Go ahead.
All right, so I'm just gonna let you know, if you late tomorrow, I'm gonna call the supervisor or the manager. They're gonna have to wait till you come because I'm leaving on time.
I kind of. Oh no, it's not Madonna. It's not scared. It's just once you go down. I know me. You know what I mean? Maybe that is scared. But once I go down a road, it ain't gonna be pretty. You know what I mean? So if I don't start, then I don't have to go there. You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of venting.
But here's the I guess McKenna internet dropped off, so she'll be back in. But let's talk about this way though. You have to look at it from both sides. The fact is that you have somewhere to be as well. You're on a schedule. So I think McKenna could agree to this. Because you're not saying nothing. That's why it is continued. Madonna say, girl, bye. Yeah. See, me, I'm gonna tell you, because see, with me, I know I will have an attitude by the time you get to the door. Don't apologize. You do this every day, but I'm not gonna do this with you no more. I mean, me, I know my side of me. So that's why when you don't say something to people take advantage. So as much yard you give them, they're gonna take it. That's how we say it in Jamaica. You get them an inch, they take a yard.
So MG, I have a question.
What's up?
So you can't leave until the other person comes, right?
Right.
So do you actually physically have to stay in your area, or can you be by the door?
Physically have to be there.
Okay.
Physically.
So you can't be like at the door waiting for that person to walk in the door?
Nope. I have a responsibility to be at that area, and somebody has to come in to actually relieve me from that area before I can leave.
Yeah, he would have been told a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. So this is my plan. This is my
What's your
plan.
plan?
Okay.
Because I can be very diplomatic until somebody else tell me otherwise, as far as if you want to get attitude. But if she comes in late, let's say tomorrow or something like that, I'm gonna pull her to the side, just tell her, because she's an older woman too. So that's another thing. Like, she's
Don't
not
pull
like,
her. Don't pull her because she gonna call harassment.
no. But I mean,
I know
pull
you.
her.
I know
Come over
you
here and
didn't
talk to
mean.
me in this area. In this area, I ain't gonna put my hands on her now. We're not gonna go from 0 to 60.
Madonna said, "Bring your pajamas." Oh my God, Madonna, really? She got some jokes. Oh my God, not your pajamas.
But yeah, I'm just gonna pull it to the side, man. Just say, look, I know whatever you doing, you trying to get here, but I don't appreciate you. I got places to be, and I'm not gonna tell her what she should do, but I don't want her to be late no more, because the next step is that I'm gonna have to go talk to him, and somebody's got to make some kind of arrangement.
Yes, management will be. Yeah,
So I have another question. Do you have documentation?
Oh, the
Like,
time is the time.
no. I'm just saying because I'm not petty, but I am. I like to have information. So it would be like, okay, I'm going to start on October 1st, and I'm going to chronicle this for 30 days. So on the 1st, she came in at 7:15. On the 2nd, like I probably would have a whole
paper trail.
calendar.
I do.
Paper
I do a
trail.
log.
Entries.
I do a log of everything we do that day. And
Okay.
so my relief time says whatever time it says. Also, when your manager goes through and has to do the time, they can see, hey, such and such clock, because I'm getting OT.
Okay.
So manager probably, looking at it, like he knows, because he's like, thank you for staying, sometimes, but like he knows. But that's what I'm saying. Like, the time is the time, because he knows he has to see it. You know what I mean? So it's definitely one of those things where I'm just like, maybe he's thinking like it don't bother him, so we're just gonna keep it moving, keep it cool. But like, it's, and I thought I could, just be all right. She's an older woman, she's in the church, she pray, stuff like that. That's auntie for the most part. And then, but auntie can't get in there and try to be slick, and try to be like, just get over. So I'm at that point now where it's like, look, so I'm gonna have to change. So if she come in late tomorrow, I'm just gonna pull it to the side, not physically, and just holler and tell her, look, I don't care for you, to be late. I need you to be on time, be ready to go, because I got things to do. My schedule is very tight, so I really need her for her to be in place where she's supposed to be at a certain time. But that's enough of my gripe. Tonya, what you got for us?
Okay, so now next Wednesday you got to give us an update on this conversation if you have to have it tomorrow, Friday, or whenever the next day. So you got to update us on this next Wednesday.
Oh, I got you.
All right. Well, my gripe is kind of a gripe, but listen, I learned something new 2 days ago. So I was dealing with a customer, client, and they were giving me some information which was not right. So when I'm letting them know that it's not right, they was like, well, you better find it. You better get it. It was a white man. And I did this kind of like this for a minute, like, okay. Because I usually be like, oh, hold up. But something just, I just said, I'm going to let him slide. Then as I proceeded to do whatever I'm doing to try to do what I'm doing. Are you finding it? Did you find it? And the next thing I heard this man said, God bless America. Yeah, Marcus. Yes,
That's
Marcus.
what he said to you?
He said, God bless America. And the Aries, the Caribbean in me was going to say something like, excuse me, but God said, the Spirit said, be still, peace, be still. So I stayed still and I proceeded to do what I was doing. So after I located what I was located, and then advised this person of X, Y, Z, and B, and they realized that they gave me the wrong information. So then they try to make an excuse on why they gave me the wrong information. But then this man turned around and say, I apologize because I know in the beginning of the call, I cursed. But I said, I was like, but he didn't curse. Our regular curse words, right? But then I realized it's because of that racial slur that he made. God bless America. He should have just said the N-word.
Is that what? hold up now, Tony. Hold up. That's a racial slur, or is it short, or was it something else?
No, it's a racial slur. God bless America. You talking to a black person? What is it, Marcus?
I don't know.
Mckenna, what is it?
I mean, sometimes people use phrases like Jesus be offense. We use be offense. That's something that we might use in our culture. Other cultures, your Caucasian person who called in, they might say God bless America in lieu of a cuss word. So I wouldn't necessarily jump that far and
No,
say
because
that
see
it was
let me tell
a
you what I
racial
got from
undercurrent. But I wasn't in that conversation. But I
we
wouldn't
not
jump.
going. See, and I don't throw and I don't blame everything on race. That's one thing with me. What I'm saying is, it's the way and the manner. Because you have to realize when someone is talking to you over the phone, when there is no face to face reaction, you can tell a white person versus a black. There was no where in this conversation that it went left. I wasn't rude. I talk very professional.
So I've heard you
So
talk on the phone. And so that's why I'm saying he might not necessarily have been able to detect your ethnicity because you have a professional sounding voice. So that's why I wouldn't necessarily have jumped to God bless America as it being.
child, I took it as a curse word because
We can tell.
there wasn't no curse word. And I'm not gonna condone anyone trying to use God bless America as a curse word. But my gripe is, how is it if someone tell you that something may not be right, and before you can try to figure out what might be wrong, you get upset to either start as Mckenna said, he might, was just saying a curse word in a different term. I'm saying he's saying a racial slur in a different term. You didn't let someone accomplish what they was doing to realize, yes, you did provide the wrong information. But then the moral to the story is the spirit that told me to be still. This individual had to turn around and apologize.
Won't he do it?
And as he said, he will bring those folks to be your footstool.
But to answer your question, Tonia, people are, and this is a generalization, sometimes they're impatient and they're only fixed on their point of view from what they're saying. They're not going back to think that, oh, maybe I gave the wrong information, or maybe I could be a little bit more specific or more clear about what I'm asking or what I need. And we have a tendency to be quick to um, say that you're wrong and I'm right. It's just a poor form of communication, but we just have a tendency to do that. And some people are very, very hasty, with that aggression when somebody's trying to correct them or inform them that they're wrong. Because some people really have a problem with being wrong. Other people are like, oh, maybe I made a mistake. Let me look real quick. Okay, this is what I really mean. But you have those people who just really struggle with anybody telling them that they're wrong about anything. And we've met those people before. And they're difficult to get along with at times. But one thing I do appreciate with that customer that you mentioned is that at least at the end, they were able to acknowledge, that they were wrong. Because sometimes people, even at the end, when it's been proven or presented, and we can speak of people in leadership um, who've governed this whole entire nation, who still to this day, after 2 years of not being in an office, can't admit that they're wrong and continue to spread false information. So it's just the type of person that we deal with. And they come in different shapes, forms, and fashions. But I do at least appreciate that the person was able to acknowledge that they were wrong and give some type of apology. Big ups to that.
Well, of course,
And
I
to you
had.
for letting peace be still. Because sometimes we don't let peace be still. So, you were able to hold the reins, so to speak, and let peace be still. And if we let peace be still, a lot of times the outcome is more favorable than if we jump right in there with them. We're real froggy out here in these Atlanta streets, so sometimes we want to jump right in with them, but we have to sometimes just let peace be still.
I'm usually like that when it comes to that, because sometimes I can get in it, but I've since the growth and maturity, I've learned sometime that you gotta just be still. And a lot of times, like you said, McKenna, I do get where you hear "I'm sorry" or "I apologize," and he was, and I just said to the person, I was like, I said that was not nice. I said, you didn't have to, you didn't have to behave that way, and he said, I know, and I'm sorry, and I said, you know what, I accept your apology. And they went on to their merry way. So again, sometimes we just have to choose our battles. Sometimes you just gotta let God victim your foot still. So we do have a guest with us tonight. I'm not sure if she's ready yet. Are you there, Nakaya? Good evening. Good evening, Mama. I said thank you for joining us. I do want to do some shout outs to Madonna for tuning in. Thank you, Elaine, for tuning in. Shout out. We have a guest with us. Just want to come in and chat with us, chime in with our conversation. Nakaya, are you there? Can you hear us? We're gonna try to get her back on. But we have some things. Okay, social media last night, yesterday was on fire. It was on fire yesterday. Um, I mean, I think COVID not only took a lot of lives. The C word, that's what we call it over here at the Powerhouse Radio. That C-19. Not only has it taken out a lot of people. A lot of people has passed because of the pandemic. But my opinion, it has definitely did something with the households, with couples. I'm just saying because I've never seen it like this before. So I don't know, Marcus, you want to start that off real quick because I don't know.
I mean, it's just been. I don't know if it's. I don't know if it's any more or any less. I think not maybe necessarily COVID itself, but the aftermath of COVID. Whether it's people not being able to work like they used to be, or people getting work that they weren't getting previously. All of it definitely could add to add to people, splitting up. And I think we talked about last week. They weren't married, but we talked about the coach for the Celtics and him, doing what he, cheating on his girlfriend at the time. Um, but I don't know, man. People split just about, people split up all the time. But like after so long, you do wonder though, like what was it, the straw that was like, you know what, we got we got so many years in this thing. Um, how did we get to the point where we just like I can't do it no more?
Well, we always got that one that is the voice of reasoning. Mckenna.
So, just speaking in general, I mean, we've talked about relationships before on Let's Gripe, and it takes a remarkable amount of work to stay together. Um, and sometimes people don't want to do that work anymore, whether it's because they don't feel like the work is being reciprocated, whether it's because they just feel so embarrassed or humiliated or defeated because of what the other person has done and now it's public, whether it's because somebody's in their ear telling them, child, you better just go ahead and pack up and go. You can do bad all by yourself. Um, so there are a lot of reasons that contribute to people throwing in that towel. Um, and we've all had experiences where we want to quit, whether it's, we were out there playing basketball or volleyball, or whether it's a job, or whether it's a girlfriend or a boyfriend. There are times when we just don't want to do it anymore. It's not fun. It doesn't feel good. I'm not happy. Um, you don't want me. If you don't want me, I don't want to be with somebody that doesn't want me. You prefer to be here, but you want to be there at the same time. And those things don't always work for people anymore. Some people can accept what they cannot change and still find a way to stay in an unhealthy situation. And there are some people who decide, I have a limit and I've reached that limit. And no amount of begging and pleading and, apologizing, or amends is going to make me change my mind this time because I've heard it all before.
McKenna. Good evening, Miss Butterfly. But McKenna, you said something. Hey, Elaine, bless up, bless up. So listen, you said something for the folks in the front of the room. When you accept the things that you cannot change and you stay. Ain't that so?
Yeah. And there are people that have done it. They accept what they cannot change and they make peace with that part. I am not going to be able to change this part of this person. This is exactly who they are. And unless they want to grow, change, pivot, maneuver, become a better person in that area, there is nothing I can do about it but be fed up. And there
Okay.
are people that can love and live around. Like, I love and live around that part of you that I cannot stand.
Mhm.
And that's the only reason that I'm still here is because I'm loving and living around that part of you that I cannot stand. And I'm praying for peace in that area. Some people can do that.
Yeah, because all the time, even though we accept, that don't mean we're at peace. And that's the part that could probably
Becomes
lend to,
unhealthy.
right, and it lends to, like, let's say whatever it is, something we're not gonna even say like infidelity, but just in general, like if you aren't happy with your spouse, and you know something that keeps nagging you about whatever, but it could be years you have accepted that this is them, but you still can't be at peace with it. But you feel like this is your marriage, so you got to make it work. You're still, because when you accept things, that don't mean you're at peace. You're trying to find that peace, like you say, McKenna. You got to, you want to pray for that peace. But in that process, sometimes depression sets in. Sometimes you're just completely unhappy, and so at what point do you just be like, look, so I'm gonna have to give because I'm not at peace. I've accepted it, but I'm not at peace. And sometimes, outside of like something as sharp as infidelity, that's people just call it quits. You know, because you can't live in that unrest in your soul for so long, even in a marriage. Um, but yeah, some things you have to accept, but you have to. That's the part that people miss. It. You have to find that peace. Because if you don't, you're gonna be miserable.
And there's a lot of pivoting that
Well,
people, there's a lot of pivoting that people do emotionally when they do decide to be at peace. Um, and it looks different in different places. Like I had a friend who decided to stay in a relationship where the other person had a whole nother family on a whole other side of town, like literally. And they made their decision that that's what they were going to do. Um, and so all you can do for that person is say, I'm going to respect your decision because that's yours. And we're not going to bring that part up again because this is your decision. Like, I don't have to. I had a person tell me, if you can love it and live with it, I can like it and live around it. And so if you can love it and live with it, that's not my whole business. I can like it and find a way to live around it. So sometimes we have to accept other people's choices, and it's hard for families and best friends and cousins to accept MG's choice or Tonia's choice. And that person who's made that decision, they don't need any extra commentary because that wasn't an easy decision to make, but they made it. So I said, you know what? If you can love it and live with it, I borrowed the phrase, I can like it and live around it. And so, unless you bring up that conversation, we just won't talk about it, and because that's a choice that you've made. Um, and I don't want to contribute to influencing, your decision, because you have all the information and all the facts. They've all been revealed. All the information has been revealed, and you have the information and you made your decision.
wow. Wow. So, and for our listeners, you might wonder who we're talking about. It was on social media yesterday, still on media today. Um, Tia Maury, the twins. She is divorcing her husband of 14 years. Um, and a lot of people was shocked with them, um, based on how they met and her spiritual background and et cetera, et cetera. But I did see a post that the husband posted yesterday. He says making an emotional decision could cost you everything. And that led me to believe that he did something. I'm always saying he cheated, but it was kind of obvious because some women would be like, okay, I'm gonna go by my mama house for a minute and get myself together, see if I can handle this or go to therapy. And in my head, I'm thinking she probably was like, nah, nah, nope, you did that, and we did a vows, and no, and so that just trying to read, just reading between the posts, it kind of made me believe that he probably did something, or she probably found something out and was like, I'm out. Um, so, of course, on TikTok, they have been all over the place saying, that they didn't, from the beginning, they were together. They just didn't feel that he was into her as she was into him. So, a lot of people have their little talks.
Was it people that was close to them, or just people
just people, just society, just people because of the fact that different interviews they had.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's interject real quick. Nakaya, are you there? Can you hear us? I think we haven't. So, Nakaya, can you hear us?
I can, yeah, but you guys are breaking up. Can you hear me?
We can. It's probably on your end. Are you on a computer,
Can
or
you
are you
guys
on
hear
a?
me?
Yeah, you're choppy. I think it's the reception. Are you there?
Matha,
Oh, so we
kind of
lost
get
her.
it back.
Hopefully she'll come back, and I think it's something with either the Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
It's either her Wi-Fi. Let's see. Are you able to hear us, Nakaya? You're on mute, so you're muted.
Yeah,
Well,
until she.
Nakai is trying to join us. So what did
Yeah,
Tia have to say?
hold on, let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna just let the powerhouse try to okay. All right, so go ahead, Marcus, what you was gonna say.
McKenna was about to say something. She probably about
No,
to
I
say
was
something similar.
asking, did Tia post anything? Like, what did she have to say about this?
Yeah, she did make a post and said that letting go. Let me see if I can find it real quick. She did post something yesterday, and I'm like, whoa, this is so deep. Let me see. 1 second, you guys. Let me see. So her post yesterday, where is it? I'm gonna find it, but she was just basically saying that letting go is painful, but something like, as time go by, you'll heal. So yeah, she had something behind it. Yeah.
And apparently, I mean, Tom Brady and his wife seem to be headed down those same divorce streets.
Yeah, Marcus and Mckenna, you guys are the sport guru. Question: do you think it has something to do with him coming out of retirement?
I mean, it's a possibility. It's also a possibility that that's the reason why he came out of retirement. You know, when you go home and you find out your home ain't your peace, I might as well go back to doing whatever I was doing beforehand because I know what kind of joy that brings me, or could mask for the most part. You know what I mean? And it also could be, hey, look, you're choosing this sport again over your family, and I've dealt with this for X amount of years, and this is the final straw. It could be that.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so we just never know. I could tell though that they were saying like he was different from the guy he used to be the previous years. Used to be happy go lucky, and that wasn't him. He seems like he's in a place where where he honestly he probably needs to step away from football. Um, you know, but maybe football is bringing him some kind of joy. It's not really showing up on the field either. So it's kind of like one of those things. He doesn't look the same. It's not something that's like physical, where like he's old. He's an older gentleman. He's like 45. So you know it doesn't seem like it's something that's physical. It seems like he's just not in the same space.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of make it happen.
All right, so Madonna, yes, I did receive your text, Madonna. Thank you very much, ma'am. So Madonna, so yes, this is what Tia message was. She says letting go can be painful, but it won't hurt as much as holding on to an illusion.
Facts. Couldn't say it better myself. That's facts.
Wow.
And we just talked about that about accepting things and making peace with things. So yeah, I mean that makes sense. And people have to do people. This is not the times of old, unfortunately, where your happiness was not important. Your marriage was. Um, but you find out later that people probably wasted years of their lives sitting in misery You know what I mean? All
Yes,
for
and you can't get those times. You can't get those years back.
you can't get them back.
Can't get them back.
You can't get them back. And 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 you stay in these marriages, and as we've had examples, as McKenna said, where people, when you got, I apologize to anybody with this name before I say it. You got Ruth Ann down the street, you know what I mean, who, who got, who got a child with Earl, you know what I mean. Earl got a whole wife living with him and two kids, and Ruth Ann got two of her own by by him. So that's been a common in our community for a little bit. But those people, they stay married for forever. And most of us say we want to love or
And
marriage
even
like
take
that.
in other people's children. I mean, not
Yeah.
only did they stay married, but you have those examples where they help raise so and such and such.
Oh yeah.
And
Mhm.
you don't learn until later that that's your half brother or your cousin, or you don't learn that until years later because you overhear it at a funeral or a family reunion. Or so you're right, MG. This is something that has happened in our community, and I'm sure in others. Um, and these are things that we don't talk about, and these are reasons that people have perpetuated this place. Even one of the Tyler Perry movies, it was on TV. I can't forget the name of it, but she basically was like, marry this man that's abusing you because he has money and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And so you socialize, or you expect people to be in unhealthy relationships because that's what you knew to do,
Hmm.
versus empowering people to let go and move forward and heal from that unhealthy relationship and
Hmm.
seek out something that is nurturing and supportive and loving and meets the other needs that they may have. And so I think um, there are some conditionings that we learn that we have to reprogram ourselves. We're programmed a certain way, and when you become an adult, you start to question, your programming, and sometimes you have to rewrite the code so that you can find that peace and be in that place where you're content and okay, and whole, and feel that you can be productive and contribute.
Along those same lines, let me get a shout out to my pops real fast, because he talked to me about those things, about you know about his marriage that ended, and kind of why. You know what I mean? He talked to me about those things. So, he let me understand, like, son, I know you're gonna love him and you're gonna want this family to work, you don't want to do all this other stuff, but there's things, especially for men, um, we tend to wear our emotions a lot more than women, in the sense that, like, if we not happy, everybody in the house gonna know it 10 times over. Unfortunately. And so that's not conducive to a family, that's not conducive to your wife, your girlfriend, and definitely not conducive to the well-being of your kids. Because they only gonna see their pops one way, and they think he's this angry, bitter man, and maybe not realize that, you know, he is stuck in a perpetual, I just have to provide for my family. It's not about my happiness. I have to provide, 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 and that's it. And that's all there is to life. So it's definitely okay, I believe, to choose your happiness. Um, but I mean, it's a lot that goes into it. But I just tell people, man, look, you just you gotta know, especially in marriages and relationships and long relationships in general, you have to be aware of your happiness, because your happiness, not only just for you, but for your family, it shows. You can't treat your If you're not happy, you definitely can't treat your family well.
Hello, all your friends
Right.
or
None
people you
of
come in contact with.
them.
And that's why we got a lot of these Karens going on, because they don't want to never leave their relationship. So because of that, that's why we got a lot of Karens, and we got some black ones too, and we got some white ones. So that is why they are not happy. And when you realize that it's pending over to other people and situation, you got to step back. And as though as it seems devastating, oh my goodness, I thought they was going to be together for a long time. I looked up to these couple. We have to be mindful. They are also human, and there are things that we don't know what goes behind closed door. So the only thing that you can do is pray for them if you're a believer, or you can just wish them the best. And majority, like you said, McKenna earlier, and Marcus, it wasn't they just woke up and decided. There had to be ongoing things. There had to be things that was pushed under the rug, closed behind the door, wasn't addressed. So it wasn't like, oh, one day I woke up like I don't want to do this anymore. So it's to the point where we just have to respect you know, their choices that they make, and even when it comes to our friends and family, because you have a lot of, but I love him or I love her.
Right.
But you got to understand, you don't know what goes behind closed door.
Exactly.
And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, and I'll wrap this up because I know we're at time. MG shared his gripe about his coworker being late, and now he's at his wit's end because this behavior hasn't changed, and the excuses are ongoing. And when we don't address things and we don't point them out and say them in a way that the person can at least acknowledge and take ownership of it, then it builds up and that resentment builds up. And so whether it's a coworker relationship or a friendship or a marriage or a relationship, we have to address some of the things that are happening earlier so that we don't build up that resentment and that frustration over a period of time, because when we do, it just rips at us, and it makes us upset. And we're the ones that we're the person that's walking around with the ulcer, and we're upset. The other person is just walking in late every day and they're fine, but I have this ulcer in my stomach because I'm tired of this behavior and it hasn't changed. And so I think that this is something that we can, continue next week and continue to discuss going forward.
Wow, look, time goes fast when you're having fun. Unfortunately, we wasn't able to get our guest on tonight. I guess she was having some technical difficulties, so definitely we'll try back next week. But guys, of course, we could not have these conversations without you guys listening and tuning in. So again, we do thank you for joining us every week. Even when I'm blowing up your phone with the text saying you join us, thank you so much for joining us. But come on, y'all got to click the like button, share button, and the subscribe button. So sometime if I forget to text you that we on, you can get notification as well. Again, we thank you so much for supporting the Let's Gripe crew and the powerhouseradio.com and 89.1 Victorious Radio. So again, we do thank you so much, guys. Until next Wednesday. But see, McKenna, before we go, we didn't even talk about his October 5th.
We'll have to talk about it next time.
Next week.
All right.
Again, until next week. This is Tonia.
Have a good night.
Y'all hear that song? Don't y'all hear that song?
What it says?
It says love don't live here anymore.
McKenna, does she know the instruments?
You abandoned me. Love don't live here anymore.
Take your coat and hat and leave. Love don't live here anymore.
I can see. Love don't live here anymore. When you leave,
sometimes it's just reality.
There was nothing I could conceive that you wouldn't do for me. Trouble seems so far away. You changed that right away, baby. You abandoned me. Love don't live here anymore. Just a vacancy. Love don't live here anymore. Love don't live here anymore. Just emptiness and memories of what we had before. You went away on another place to stay, another home.